Well, I'm back, guys. Welcome to part 4 of this documentary? Catalog? Diary? I honestly don't know what this is anymore. Because I thought I would only be using this platform to tell stories of stuff that has happened in the past on this property. But now I'm being forced to bring this journal to the present. You see, those people from that organization did come to see about the keyleth. And now, there's a guy named Mark living in my house and sleeping on my couch. Well, not really sleeping, more of unconscious. But we'll get to that part later. After a few days of this organization that wouldn't tell me their name not showing up, I figured it was just a troll who managed to figure out my email account and hack into my personal info. But alas, on the third day, he rose. Nah, not really. But 4 guys did end up knocking on my front door. They were all dressed pretty normally, except for the matching gray combat boots. That told me that these were men of action. Which also means that they were going to try their hardest to push me around and play badass. My suspicions were confirmed when the guy in the lead identified himself as Mark and immediately asked me where I claimed to have actually killed a keyleth. What a prick. Look, I still don't know what the fuck a keyleth is, and I don't claim to have killed one. The lady in the tree said I killed one. I only assume she's talking about the hairless coyote I killed down near the creek. At the mention of the lady in the tree, they all looked at each other with an expression of, this dude is a waste of time. The feeling was mutual. I was getting a little impatient by now, so I chimed in with a, if you guys are done being superior to me, I can take you to where I killed the coyote. The one behind Mark, whose name I don't remember, said, sure, let's get this over with. 30 minutes later, we're standing in front of where I killed the thing that I now know wasn't a coyote. Look, I know I may not have clarified it yet, but I killed this thing well over a year ago. Shit, maybe 2 years. And the only reason that the organization knew that I had killed it was because of the post I made earlier this week. A lot of decomposing and feeding can happen to a body in the woods over that long period of time. On top of that, I hadn't been to this part of the property in a very long time, because there aren't any trails or interesting locations here. But I was taken aback when I saw what had happened to this body over the course of 2 years. Absolutely nothing. The body looked like I had shot it yesterday. The only evidence that it was older was the fact that all the blood had seeped out from the head wound and long since dried up. But the skin, face, and the fur on its paws were completely preserved. It only had fur on its paws, which was odd. When we got to the body, the snickering crew of 4 went dead silent. You said this was killed around 2 years ago, didn't you? Mark said. Yeah, but I haven't been down here since. Why is this thing still preserved like that? What the hell is happening? I questioned. One of the guys who hadn't said a word up until this point chimed in. Keyleths are so unnatural and dark that nothing that occurs in nature will have anything to do with an authentic one. This includes bacteria, fungi, and scavenger animals. Then he muttered something about a level 107 beast. Mark looked at me with a serious face and said, "So if this Keelet story is true, does that mean all the shit you said in those posts about this place were true?" Before I could answer, with a "what do you think, asshole?" a low, raspy laughter started to surround us and began closing in. It was coming from all directions. We looked up from the body to see at least 50 hooded figures surrounding us, laughing menacingly. All 4 of the military men pulled their concealed pistols and took aim. But before they could fire a shot, I called out over the laughing, "Hector, I told you next time you and your little chosen crew sneak up on me, I'm kicking your asses again." Everyone paused. The chosen, the 4 organization men, and the pale that had just crested a hill 30 yards behind one of the cult members. A few seconds later, one of the hooded figures took off his hood to reveal a chubby, jolly-looking face with rosy cheeks and wire-rimmed prescription glasses.
"Aw, man. We didn't know they were with you, Cole. We all thought they were trespassers. We're sorry,"
Hector said with a downcast gaze. "Why do you even need them to begin with?" I retorted. Hector hesitated for a moment and said,
"Our god wants a real sacrifice, and those white crawly humanoid thingies just aren't doing it for him anymore."
At this moment, the pale that I could see frozen on top of the hill turned and bolted back into the woods. Hector then proceeded to call to the other hooded figures.
"They're with Cole. We can't have them."
There was a collective sigh as all the chosen looked at the ground and walked away into the woods. I didn't notice until they were all gone that the 4 organization men hadn't lowered their weapons the entire time. "You pussies ready to head back to the house? It gets dark in 45 minutes, and if those guys got you on edge, then you won't last long at night." Mark shot me a look that explained in detail how much he hated me, without the need for words, while his 3 partners put on thick rubber gloves and put the Keelet into a sort of body bag. As we were walking back towards my house, with the 3 stooges carrying the corpse of the dog demon, Mark starts questioning me. "What was that group back there?" "Some cult, I guess. They told me they worship Cunt Hulu or something." He seems kind of taken aback for a second, and then asked, "Why do they seem wary of you, but not flinch when we had guns trained on them?" "That's simple. They don't fear death, but they do crack when exposed to severe pain for long enough." Again, Mark seemed surprised by my answer. He's starting to strike me as simple-minded. "So, how did you inflict this pain on them?" I don't want to answer any more of these questions. I really didn't. This was the kind of shit that I don't like to dwell on. That was a different life. And I don't like when it seeps back into the present. Sure, it's nice to have a local murder cult leave you alone, but I used methods that I regret to get that luxury. The last thing Mark said to me on our hike back to the house was, "Look, dude, my mind is telling me that you're batshit crazy, but my instincts are telling me that you're a threat. Which one are you?" I looked him dead in the eyes and mumbled, "That's up to you." Let me tell you, the look on his face was priceless. I love mind games. A few minutes later, we reached the house, and all 4 of the goons walked up to this big black van they had arrived in. They started loading up the body, and as I reached my doorknob to go inside, I hear Mark start raising his voice while talking on the phone. What? This guy isn't even right in the head. I know there is stuff here, but why with... Look, let me get a team down. Okay, yes, he does have experience, but... Wait, what did you just say? He then stares at me, with a mixture of confusion and disbelief. I told him where I came from. I could tell by the way he looked at me. He hung up the phone without any more arguing and began to walk over to me. As he reaches me, he says, "My higher-ups have told me that I need to stay with you for a while and keep an eye on the activity around here." I responded with, "You can't be serious." "Wish I wasn't," he said back, then added, "They also want me to remind you that you didn't pay for this house, or this property." With that, I opened the door, with my best butler impression, and gestured for him to enter my home. As he walked through the door and dropped what I assumed to be his emergency bug-out bag on the floor, he froze. Can I just say one thing real quick? Fuck Skinny. I didn't hear how heavily he was breathing at first, because the van was making noise as it was driving away. But as those sounds faded, I realized that Mark was breathing like he had just sprinted a marathon. His eyes were trained on the window, with his body completely rigid, with his hand on his hip, ready to draw his gun. I followed his gaze to the window where I confronted Skinny many times before. And, sure enough, there he was. Only this time he wasn't someone I recognized. This time he was a fairly attractive, tall, and athletic blonde woman. She was smiling and holding a heart-shaped balloon. Upon closer inspection, I could tell that the balloon read, "It's a girl." I rushed in front of Mark to try and snap him out of whatever trance he was in, but I soon realized the tears that were welling up in his eyes. By this, I gathered that this woman was no longer with us, and the girl most likely wasn't either. Fuck you, Skinny. I calmly started explaining what Skinny was to Mark, but soon after I started, he stopped me. "I read the stories, Cole. I know that you've talked about this thing before, but I'm trained to handle these kinds of things, so don't worry about me. Because I'm gonna fucking kill it." With that, he made a mad dash to the door, in an effort to get outside and confront Skinny. I managed to block him and push him to the ground, saying that he won't come inside, so just keep your shit together and we live. Mark wasn't in a listening mood, though. He jumped back to his feet, straight into a fighting stance. Oh, great. After a second, he threw a fast left hook straight for my face, but he wasn't fast enough. I ducked under the swing and connected my elbow to the underside of his chin. He went out like a light. And by the time the scuffle was over, Skinny was gone. I put Mark on the couch, and now I'm typing this, thinking about going through his computer before he wakes up. Anyways, that's it for today. Please, if anyone knows what a keelet is, let me know. What did I kill? What did Mark mean by he was trained to deal with this kind of stuff? What is he, a monster hunter or something? I'll try to get some answers before my next post. See y'all soon.
Greetings, friends and fiends. Chronicler here. We here at Creepy Spaghet would like to thank Murderbird17 for allowing us to tell their story. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe to stay updated on these terrible tales. And be sure to check out the author in the links below. If you're interested in having your story narrated, be sure to reach out to our humble overseer, as he continues his journey to pull the darkest stories from the infinite depths of the internet. Until next time, fiends.